All right, well, good morning, everyone. My name is Joseph Young.
My name is Brendan Taylor.
And we are Lifting Color. Lifting Color is a show that's going to highlight diversity in fitness and how health and fitness affect communities of color. We wanted to bring this to you all because we felt like there's not much out there like this. We wanted to provide a different angle on health and fitness, and also talk to what we have always grown up with, what we've always been around, what we interact with on a day-to-day basis. So welcome to the very first episode. We're going to tell you a little bit about who we are. We're going to talk about a little bit more in depth why we started this show, and then we're going to also share with you some about our businesses and what we do in the health and fitness industry. So Brendan, I don't know if you want to start today, just kind of telling us who you are, you know, where you come from, how you got into health and fitness.
Right. So, as stated, my name's Brendan. I own Greatest Strength Fitness. Specialize and help people develop and express their strength. Been in the business for 6 years now. I'm also a fitness specialist with the Navy NWR. Had a little bit of intern time with Athletic Republic. Stuff I got coming up, I power lift, so pretty soon I got USAPL Nationals 3 weeks out as of today.
Okay, very good.
Yep.
Awesome. So what's your mentality going into that? Like, what are you doing at this point to prepare for that?
So right now, in the middle of the peaking phase and everything, so it's really getting the fatigue out. Anybody that's familiar with peaking, getting rid of fatigue, upping the intensity a little bit. So just really priming my body to push big weight for the most part. Okay. So it's really like the tail end of the training, all the strength that I gained. So it was probably a 16-week training cycle. So all the strength is gained, just all about displaying it on the platform at this point. Okay. So, finally, since Spokane, Washington. So I think the biggest thing is going to be the travel for me this time. Sure. Going out west, I got one delay. I got to go to Seattle, then over to Spokane. So if anybody's not familiar, this is the first USAPL Nationals on the West Coast. Spokane, Washington. It's out in the middle of nowhere, so it's a little bit of a hassle getting there and everything.
So that'll obviously have some effect on your body, some sort of wear and tear.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, anytime you traveled, we driven to Atlanta the first time. We flew to Orlando. Right. I'm flying again in Spokane. The biggest thing I would tell anybody whoever has to travel and compete, get there a little bit earlier. My first flaw with Atlanta, I got there the day before the competition, and we drove. If you can not drive, I would not recommend driving because you get tight and it's a little harder on your body than flying.
Definitely.
If you fly, you have a little bit of trouble making weight. Just be aware, airplane fights, they make you retain water. Okay. So that's the other part to it. So I don't think it'd be too much of an issue. I'm getting there on Friday. I left on a Sunday, so I'll have like Friday to settle in and everything. See the 83s battle it out that night. So Russ will shine. Then probably, like I say, watch the 93s the next day. Hotel's only 5 minutes away from the host hotel that's doing the meet.
So not too bad. Just kind of get your ducks in a row, getting ready, preparing yourself, little tweaks here and there.
Yeah, so it's like I don't have to worry. I'm like 7 pounds under where I need to be. So not worried about weight or anything. In terms of Wilks, but it's not like I'm this past meet, the USPA meet, when I cut about 20 pounds of water. So
right.
That won't be an issue. Healthy for the most part. Healthy as you can be, trying to lift heavy ass weight. So
sure.
Yeah. So with that coming up, that's pretty much it's just getting ready for that. It's at that point where you just want the day to just get here.
Sure.
And you're like, I just want to get it over with.
Right.
To go ahead and until it's like 2 weeks of a deload. Then you're like, all right, it's time to get back at it.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, very good. Well, just a little bit about me, right? Again, my name is Joseph Young. I actually primarily my sport now is bodybuilding. I don't have anything that's coming up that I have on the schedule yet. Right now, I'm just trying to continue to put on size. Thinking about making the switch over from men's physique into classic physique.
Like, you want the posing?
Yeah, that's the putting the routines together, having music, and I think there's a certain grace and a respect that I have for that category, and that's more. Kind of the aesthetic that I'm looking for anyways. So, you got to start training that way if that's what you want to do. So,
right.
Definitely with my mind towards that. But born and raised in Waukegan, graduated from Waukegan High School in 2008. Always lifted, for different periods of time. Just recently got into bodybuilding only about 2 years ago. So yeah, I've only done one show at this point, right? Last year in October. So we'll see. I have some more things coming up at this point. I'm just trying to build, continue to get.
Are you targeting a certain date or?
Probably the Titan in Kenosha, which is beginning of June.
Yeah, that was my first one.
Yep.
So
absolutely. Yeah, Doug Andruski show out of Wisconsin. So if you're interested, we'll get the details out there for you as we get closer to the show. I'll let you know what category I compete in at that show. But
what's the weight you gotta?
That's a great question. So that's more like what I have to look into. I know I started training that way, but there's still some research I gotta do. So I'm 5'11", 6 foot. So I think I can't go past. It's like maybe 180 something. Maybe 190 somewhere in there. So I have to take a look at it to get more details. But slowly chipping away. Getting things organized and whatnot. I think in some ways I've committed towards doing that, but in other ways I haven't, right? So not even knowing like what weight I can, like what my limits are and whatnot. So I'll get there eventually. But men's physique, is a lot of fun. I still find myself, like thinking about, okay, like should I stay in that category or not? So for those of you who don't know, for bodybuilding, there's various different classes, different physiques that you can bring to the stage. One is called men's physique. Those are the guys that wear like board short trunks. They only have literally 2 compulsory poses, which is the front and the back, and you're judged mostly on upper body, not really on legs. And classic physique is kind of the next step up. The idea was to bring it back towards the look that Arnold and Franco Columbu and some of those guys had from back in the day, even like a Lee Haney almost. So those guys are wearing compression shorts. Then when you go up from there, you have the men's 212, which means they just can't be more than 212 pounds. So they're, all these categories are really bodybuilding, but they're starting to get more towards what like bodybuilding is now. And then you have the open class, which are the guys that are like muscles on top of muscles. They flex their finger and they got a muscle that pops out of their finger.
Phil Heaths, your Kai Greens.
Right, Jay Cutler's, Ronnie Coleman's, to name a few of the big, past Mr. Olympias and whatnot. Yeah. But yeah, so just kind of, grinding away, chipping away. That's kind of where I'm at right now, is just building, working towards that. So hopefully the Titan, which I think is June 9th. I have to double check.
Yeah, it's always like that first week of June, because that was the first one I did.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
absolutely.
But yeah, it's a good spot because it gives you time.
Sure.
You got like the rest of this year to build, summer next year, and then start cutting down. How's that body fat percentage looking?
I'm still relatively low. Low. Yeah. So if you want to call it genetics or just the fact that I eat pretty well. Like I don't get too far off track with my nutrition and whatnot. But I remain pretty lean. I think I'm right in that range, like that 11 to 13%.
11, okay.
So I still can still see my abs. I still see a little bit of striations. But I'm definitely not as cut as when I had my first show. There I was probably like 5%, 6% body fat, like something low.
What did you weigh in?
I was like almost 30 pounds lighter than what I am now.
35.
Yeah. So 10 to 15 pounds water, and then like 15 pounds. I was pretty cut down, but I wasn't like super striated.
Oh, okay.
So I think some of it was actually muscle mass. So kind of learning from that too, saying like, okay, when I make this next cut, do I do it more gradually? And maybe not cut out as many carbs as early, so I can remain full to some degree. Because I would say like I had the muscle tone, I had the definition, but I was a little flat.
Yeah. Got you.
So just kind of learning from those different pieces, playing with it, and working out the mechanics of it.
Yeah.
So But Brendan, tell us more about who you are, like where you come from. How is it that you got into fitness? Like, were you an athlete before? How did you kind of get to where you are now and like owning Greatest Strength? And then tell us a little bit more about Greatest Strength.
Okay, so grew up North Chicago, graduated 2003. So yeah, it's hard to believe. Got a 20-year reunion coming up. But yeah, graduated North Chicago. Played football, I wrestled, ran a little bit of track. So let's see, did a little bit of college football also for about a year or so. From there, I actually worked retail for a while, so it wasn't until got a little out of shape and everything, so going into my 21st birthday. So then I started just wanted to lose weight first. That was the big thing, just health. Like I wasn't breathing right when I slept and everything, to the point, like my family had concerns, so, from there, like anybody else, you grab the magazine, from the rack. All right, here's Muscle and Fitness.
Sure.
You do that to start, and then combination of that and just stuff I learned from football, so it was really kind of a trial and error type thing starting out. But I was like 270. From 270, lost the weight. The initial drop was 65 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, so like got down to 205. The lowest I've been since I lost the weight was 180. That's because I did a physique show also. That was back 2016. I did my first one at the Titan. So I got down to 180, which was the lowest I had been since high school. Like seeing that. Right now, walking around about 220. That's a lot of it's because a lot how you're trying to fill out. I'm trying to fill out a powerlifting class right now. Sure. So I lift at 105, which is 231. So I'm still like 7 pounds under where I need to be. So I've been, body wise, I've been like aiming more so just to get stronger, build mass for the powerlifting side of things. So I'm going into my 3rd year doing this now. So kind of like my wheelhouse and everything. So primarily that's what Greatest Strength. Primarily we focus on powerlifting, a little bit of weightlifting here, very small with physique athletes and everything, but it's really just put the company together just really to help people express themselves through strength. That's really like our mission, aim, and everything. Just kind of, so when literally using the platform so people can uplift themselves.
Sure.
So that was the idea behind it. Mostly doing it on the online side for the simple fact I could just touch more people that way. Having that, still doing stuff with the Navy full time, that it's not a lot of one-on-one stuff I can do outside of that, like physical, that face-to-face contact.
Sure.
So went with the online angle. Outside of that, we do some group training, very few one-on-ones type deal. So, but that was just the biggest idea. It's just because I was kind of a quiet dude. I'm a quiet dude now, so like my way of expressing myself is through powerlifting, or if I ever do get back on the stage doing physique, weightlifting, like that's my avenue. Some people rap, some people do poetry.
Sure.
I pick up a barbell.
Okay.
So
Word.
That's the biggest thing. So a little bit about Forever Young Fitness.
Yeah, absolutely.
How did that come to be?
Sure. Like I said, grew up in Waukegan. Actually went to college up in Kenosha at UW Parkside.
Okay.
Yeah, played a little bit of soccer there. I think for me, the big turning point was back in 2014, I tore my ACL, my MCL, and my meniscus playing soccer. I still love the game. I still play when I can. But I started to think, okay, there might be something else now that I need to kind of focus in on it and do. So once I completed my rehab for my knee, I was still like kind of pondering whether or not I was gonna take lifting in a different direction, or whether or not I was gonna play a different sport or something competitive, because I've always been an athlete, right? I grew up playing baseball and soccer, so I wanted to stay competitive in some way, shape, or form, and have some sort of goal for lifting. I think it's hard for a lot of folks to go in the gym and lift and say, well, I want to lose X amount of pounds, but it's like, okay, once you accomplish that goal, then what?
Yeah.
Right? There's always kind of this moving target, I think, that you have to have for yourself. So I had a friend by the name of Christina who actually signed up with a coach and started preparing to do a bikini competition. And she spoke to me and just said, hey, like, you should do this. I think this is something that you could be good at. Like, check it out. So, I met with this coach up in Wisconsin and started training and had my first competition back in the fall. And, I was thinking about it, and I thought to myself, granted, I've always lifted, my major is in health exercise science. Like, I've studied the human body and nutrition and weightlifting and all these different things. But I've never felt this good. I've never been in this good a shape. I've never eaten this well. Because of the sport, I started to, eat more fruits and vegetables and do different things. I've personal trained for a long time, right? And I always ate relatively well, but I thought, man, I've kind of taken it to a new level now. I want to get back into having my own business, working with people on their health and wellness once again. I spoke to this lady from Lithuania when I was in college. She asked me, how old do you want to be when you die? Right? And she kind of threw me off with this question. Like, we would normally come in and we would talk about what'd you have for breakfast today? And I was the She came in this one particular day and asked me, how old do you want to be when you die? Right? And she was a part of this organization or this club that was started called the 100 Club. They're trying to everyone live to be 100 years old and have a high quality of life. And that always kind of stuck with me, My last name is Young, right?
Obvious.
So that's the obvious for those of you who don't know me. I kind of always had this mentality of why not live the highest quality of life for as long as you can, right? The mentality of being forever young. So making the choices now in your life, whether it's what you're eating or exercising or meditating or having, kind of that total wellness is what I'm trying to
holistic approach.
Exactly, is what I'm trying to bring to folks, giving the knowledge, the tools, the skills necessary to have whatever quality of life it is that they want to have. So actually initially, when I first graduated from college, my specialty was working with people with MS, diabetes. I was working with a gentleman that had vision impairment, so kind of a wide variety of folks that were kind of special situations, if you will. And of course, I worked with those who are, you want to fit into a bridesmaid dress for, X amount of time that you have until that wedding's coming up.
90% of
right? Or the guy that's hard for him to put on muscle, so he's trying to put on muscle. So I worked with a wide variety of populations, but what I really enjoy doing is that giving that educational piece, right, and helping people again get to that level of fitness or that level of health that they're looking for, as long as they're looking for. So that's essentially the core of what Forever Young Fitness means, is just that quality of life. How long can we push it? How far can you take your body? You know what I mean? How healthy are you feeling? Are you sleeping well? Are you stressed out in your personal life? And trying to figure out how we can change that through health and fitness.
Right. That's real dope, because I think it definitely, people how we just made got to fit into a dress. And I think the biggest thing, health fitness, it needs to be this continuous thing. It can't be just for a date, or it has to be okay, well, what about after the wedding?
Right.
Once you get down to a certain weight, because for me, once I lost the weight, it was kind of this, all right, what now?
Right.
That's what kind of led me into okay, competing more, because it was all right, I need to do something, because I tell people all the time, getting in shape for your health it's boring. If you're just there to be healthy, it's at least for me it is it's boring after a while. It's okay, so what's this? What's the next thing I can do? And then, and it's going more into those extremes. Okay, let's get on stage, let's get on the platform.
Right.
Let's just really go from there. I don't know if that's what you kind of felt.
Yeah, I think you there's a listlessness almost, where you're okay, where do I take it now? What's the point of this? Right? I feel good. I can run a mile or two or whatever. You could be okay with your body image, which is a lot of what I encountered, in myself and in other people too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'm fine with how I look, right? Like I have no problem with that. I just think you get to a point where you say, okay, again, it's not about just the aesthetic. It's about like, how are you sleeping at night and how are you feeling?
Yeah.
And like, how can I improve these things? Well, it's like, if you look at all the research and the studies that have been done at this point, health, exercise, right? Nutrition, right? Some of these key factors in centering yourself in other areas as well, not just the physical aspect.
Right.
So definitely, right? And again, being athletes, right? I think always our minds are towards that competitive nature, right? So finding something that's going to continue us down that road. But I know plenty of people who train using bodybuilding techniques, but they don't compete in bodybuilding shows.
Yeah, true.
Right? They're not taking it to the extreme, right? They're not saying, okay, I have to carb cycle and I'm going to measure out how much meat I'm getting or how much protein I'm, you know what I mean? And there's still ways to be serious about it and still like have kind of that moving target, while at the same time not taking it to an extreme. And I think a lot of people focus on those extreme levels, as we do with many things in life.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
you're either left or you're right wing.
Yeah.
Kinds of things.
I mean, social media too, like,
Of course.
because I'm not gonna lie, it's like, okay, I'm on Instagram and I'll see somebody throw up some weight, and it's like, fuck, all right, yeah, I got some work to do, so you gotta. So I think that's why the extremes.
Yeah.
And I think people don't understand that that's the
Right.
extreme. They don't understand that like Phil Heath that's the top 1%.
Top of the heap.
Like a Russ Swole with powerlifting, the Jesse Norris's, Larry Wheels,
Sure.
like that's the top 1%. Now, even 0.5%,
Of course.
It's the cream of the crop.
Absolutely.
But I think because magazines, shows, and what we see, it projects the idea that that's normal.
Right.
And it's really not a norm. Like
Sure.
the last physique show I did last year, I forgot the name of the show, but the girl I competed with, she just thought, oh, I just diet and exercise and hop on stage, and then it comes to find out, oh, your posing bikini costs this much. You got to get a tan, you got to get jewelry, makeup, the heels. Oh, you got to learn how to pose.
Right, the suit is $1,000.
Yeah, you got like all these things, and then and it's because it's one thing to eat healthy, it's a whole nother thing to eat and whether it's for a model photo shoot or something like that, getting on stage, whatever, it's a whole nother animal when you're trying to do those things.
Right.
Like there's, on my side, the powerlifting side, there's being strong. And then there's like saying, I'm going to be strong on this particular day at this hour, with the flight, in this time zone.
Sure.
It was like somebody brought up like, well, what's the elevation there? Like, because it's a mountainous area. So we're like, so there's these different factors. And if you had to cut weight to, make weight, that makes a huge difference. Right. So it's just like what people have to there's the extreme, and then there's just, okay, here, I'm just doing this for me type deal.
Absolutely.
And so that's why, because it was I forgot what I was listening to, but it was this debate. Do you like it when, and I guess this can group in whether it's powerlifting, bodybuilding. Do you like when people who haven't competed say they're bodybuilders or powerlifters? And I think that's like an interesting point. Like, sure. I kind of look at it, and it sounds a little elite, a little arrogant, sure. But like when you've done like a powerlifting meet, it's like, it's different. It's different when you gotta squat to death according to a standard, sure. With 3 people judging you.
Sure.
That's, it's one thing to be cut up and look good. It's a whole nother thing with a crowd, 3 judges, critiquing.
The lights.
Yeah, the lighting, critiquing, the smallest little thing. You got an underdeveloped rear delt, like weird stuff. So it's like always, that's why I got to tell people, like, there's, you bench, have you have you done it with a pause in competition? Like,
with all the pressure on?
Yeah, like with an asshole judge just making you hold it for like 2 seconds at the bottom.
Right.
So it's
exactly.
like, yeah, so it's always those X amount of things, but yeah, it's always just going back to like people understanding like the extremes of it. Like
Absolutely.
when you do weightlifting, when you do powerlifting, when you do bodybuilding, we're just, before we cut the video, we're talking about the Olympia,
right.
Where it's, slight conditioning with like Phil Heath, issues with his stomach not being conditioned.
Sure.
It's like the average person will look at Phil like, where's the flaw?
What's the issue?
Yeah, and me, being casually following this, where it's still like somebody has to explain it to me, and even I have to look at it really close, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I see what they're talking about now.
Right.
But like, so that keen eye is kind of, all that stuff. Like,
Absolutely.
Or the flip side, powerlifting. Like, hey, it's like, there's like I'm strong, like I can make it to nationals, but like there's people like I outweigh by like almost 80 pounds pushing more weight than me. I'm like the top 15. They're like, again, cream of the crop. So it's always
that next level.
Yeah, just trying to just trying to get there. Because I think I just kind of noticed a parallel with our brands. It's forever greatest. Like trying to achieve this thing, but I think it's to be defined by, really by, I guess person to person, like on what that is.
Absolutely. That's very true. For those of you who might just be joining us at this point in the show, we are Lift in Color, which is a show that highlights diversity in communities of color and how health and wellness and fitness affect communities of color. My name is Joseph Young.
Brendan Taylor.
And we thank you once again for joining the show. Hope you all are having a good morning. Got my coffee here, trying to make sure to stay on track for today. Have you gotten your workout today, Brendan?
No, I actually going in after this. Guy have bench today, so we'll testing singles. I ever so slightly strain my pecs, so we'll see how 85% feels at a pause. So.
Okay.
But yeah, got that going today, and about to get some pre-workout.
There you go. No doubt. About to get just a bit myself. Yeah, I think I'm going to do some chest and triceps today, probably.
Chest and triceps.
Had a tough one the other day that tore me up, so I'm going to try to just get high reps, get blood flow in there, kind of recover a little bit. Is there anything else, Brendan, that you want to say? We were just talking earlier a little bit about our stories. We talked a little bit about our brands and what they stand for and kind of how we got into health and wellness as well. Is there anything else you want to say specifically about Greatest Strength? What you want to do with it, or, if you want to invite anybody to kind of talk with you, or where they can reach you at, or how they can get a hold of you?
You can get with me on Facebook, Brendan C. Taylor. Easy to find. It's a public account. You can also, I primarily put a lot of stuff up on Instagram, so you can find me at Black Powerlifter. That's going to be BLK PWR_lifter on IG. You can inbox me with any questions that you have. Also, I just want to give a shout out to John Castillo for letting us use his garage gym to record and everything. Shout out to the Hell House crew, Jason, for handling me at my next meet. So remember, handlers. You need handlers for a lot of this stuff, guys.
No doubt.
All right.
Very good.
For you?
Yeah, I think if you want to get a hold of me for Forever Young Fitness, either on Instagram, Forever Young Fitness, Forever written out as the word, _LLC. I take a ton of inquiries there. It's primarily what I do. Otherwise, if you feel more comfortable with email, it would actually be the number Forever Young Fitness, IL as in Illinois, @gmail.com. Again, I will meet you where you are, regardless of what you're looking to do. Let's at least have the conversation, see what we can put together for you. I also want to thank John for letting us use his lovely space. You all will get to hopefully see some more videos and different things as we continue to expand the show. We won't always be just sitting here talking to you. We hope to be able to show you workouts and some routines and talk with you through specific things and questions that you might have. So we'll get to that point. If you haven't checked us out already, Lift in Color on Instagram. check it out. Give us a follow. Give us a like on our first post or two. We'll continue to get information out to you. We'll continue to post and let you all know what we have coming up. Actually, our next show is going to be sitting down with another power lifter, Jason, who just recently competed, and talking with him about his experience so we can hear a little bit more about powerlifting. So for those of you who aren't familiar, or even for those of you who are, you can get to know a little bit more about what powerlifting looks like and hear kind of behind, a normal everyday person who works, who has several jobs, who still finds a way to stay healthy and fit and do what he loves to do.
Right. So, yeah, have stuff like that. Hopefully, I'll have a lot of content. A little bit tough with the drama with the whole camera situation, but try my best to get the best stuff out to you guys.
All right. Well, thank you all for tuning in and joining with us and hearing about Lifting Color and what it is. We'll bring you all another episode soon. Take care.
Yep. Later.